So this is a superhero, a character superhero, downloaded from the internet. As you can see, it's pretty base mesh. We're gonna rig it up with the smart scanner. The groin area is actually missing, but it was downloaded that way. I actually templated it in a separate layer. So here's the topology on him. You can see it's a pretty basic topology, nothing too advanced. This would be like a comic book type hero, so if a Marvel or DC wanted to use the smart scanner, this is kind of a application of how it could actually be used, or The Incredible, something like that. Kind of see. So I'm going to template him and go ahead and launch the software. I have buttons made for the software itself, so I'm going to go ahead and just launch it off. Here's the smart scanner biped. Create the scale node. Execute the sketch skeleton, and then I have to actually line up the groin of the mesh with the root of the skinner. And this is the only time that you have to actually move this around. So just kind of position him like so. And then position him back a little bit. Just kind of get it to where you want the root to be. When that's done, I'm going to template them, and then I'm going to just come through and take these joints and just start to move them around in the mesh. So this gives you an idea approximately where to put everything. There'll probably be some skinning cleanup, but for the most part, well, just like we advertise, we'll get you about 95%, 95% there. So to the foot. Just kind of come through, get this proportion in, and then just rotate them in this way. Actually, probably this in a little bit more. We translate that in a little bit. And this takes some finessing. That's good enough. And then come through on the side of the mesh and just begin to kind of come through and actually get this guy into the proper location. And then get into the clavicle here. I actually like my clavicles angled down like this as opposed to in and up. A lot of times people want them in and up like this because a lot of times people rotate down and they want that shoulder to be rotated down before in caves, but people are more likely to actually raise their arm up, clavicle up, so that's better deformation and just better technique. You really shouldn't rotate your clavicles down. So kind of the form I'm doing here, and you can see I do a lot of going back and forth between front view and orthographic view, just kind of getting this so it's in the proper location. Once that's done, take that up. Take that down. And the legs were modeled pretty straight, but typically you want to have a little bit of a bend to them just to get it so it's just not in a locked pose, because ideally you want to have it in a position where it's either halfway or something like halfway. That way it can go either way relatively quickly. So now I'm going to come through and actually do the joints. And a typical rigger might make anywhere up to, a supervisor could make, at ILM, can make 200,000 to 300,000 a year, depending on what they are doing. It's a pretty specialized area. This is going to, so that's an hourly rate of, you know, an hourly rate paid of about $100 to $200 an hour, depending on what they're doing, what they're working on. As listed on Glassdoor, a soup at ILM is about $220. So this, in terms of billable time, if you look at this kind of, what would take a major supervisor up to 110 hours to do at, you know, $100 to $200 an hour, can get done in 15 minutes to a half hour. So you should be able to crank out pre-muscle sim about 16 to 32 characters a day. Just kind of take these guys, and we'll just rotate these guys down. For this demo, they don't need to be perfect, but they pretty much get blocked into place. So once that's kind of blocked in, you can kind of see what's done. You can take this, hit button 3A, it mirrors it over. Hit button 4, creates the final skeleton, finalizes it. Hit button 5, creates the leaf joints. So wherever these leaf joints need to be, we're actually going to end up deleting them. This is a very strange looking character, but you can mirror them over. Finalize the leaf joints, close up, drop down C. Any joints that you don't want, we're not going to use hamstrings or triceps, biceps, pecs, or lats. I can simplify for mobile if I want to, but I'm not going to. Select the mesh, number of influences 4, select as a bind, and then this is where you want to come through and actually select whether you want to reference in a film next gen scene that's included or installed, or the mobile scene. Because we did not click mobile up here, we'll click film next gen. So I'll click the scene, find the Skinner, and it's installed. So I want to kind of come through, and I can use this knob to kind of scale him down a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And then there's a little bit of a nice gap there. Let me move this up a little bit. Then just kind of come through and begin to sketch in move the yellow controls around so your mesh is actually on the controls. So and maybe want to move some of these out a little bit. It should make it pretty tight. And then kind of come through and just begin to scale these up. Just kind of scale these up a little bit. Move this down a little bit. Get in there so it's nice and tight. Take the traps. Just kind of move these on up. Scale this neck joints up. And this is kind of encaged in there. And there might be some cleanup that needs to be done. We're not going to worry about that too much for this demo. This will get you probably, this will get you 90% there. I come through, and some of these fingers are a little twisted, and you just kind of come through and just twist them back. I'm going to move this out of the way. And the fingers will probably get a little bit of cleanup. Nothing that on a mesh like this shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes. But for the sake of this demo, we're not going to worry about that. Take this guy and just kind of rotate him back over. There's some twisting on the fingers on the mesh. Just kind of rotate these guys a little bit just so they kind of fit in the area. And it's not necessary, but it's a mesh approximation, but it gives you a pretty good idea. And we'll just kind of scale these on back. Scale this back a little bit. And then for our first pass, maybe with a little bit, but 10 minutes to clean up or so, this will look pretty sharp. So hit 8B, copies and transfers the skin weights. Kind of see what we got here. Kind of take this guy, just kind of move him around. And you can see it's pretty cleaned up. Everything's kind of in the right spot, moving around. This whole process would take about 110 hours. It's done in minutes. See, it's rotate that up and then rotate that over. Kind of what you would get. Got a pretty good twist and deformation there for the poly count type. When that's done, hit 8C. Let's see the head real quick. Head's moving around good too. When that's done, hit 8C. Unreferences the scene, drop down D. Hit button 9. Generates the entire control rig. Hit the button below it. Enables cartoony squash and stretch. Hit the button below that. Enables the facial GUI. So 110 hours were done in approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Kind of see it's all moving around. Looks great. And then you have your superhero that is completed. And it's done. You might want to do a little bit of cleanup here and there, but for the most part, maybe 10 minutes of cleanup on skinning, but it's done. So you can get 110 hours done in 15 minutes. Thank you for watching BZP Pro. We hope you enjoyed the demo.